How did the universe begin? Imagine a silence so absolute that it wasn't just the absence of sound, but the absence of time itself. A silence in which even the concept of before had no meaning, because time had not yet begun to flow. There were no stars to shine, no galaxies to scatter across the void, not even the comforting darkness of night, because for darkness to exist, there must first be space for it to occupy. And then, in a fraction of a second, so tiny that our language can barely capture it, smaller than a blink, smaller than a heartbeat, smaller than anything we can measure, everything exploded into existence, not as an explosion in space, but as an explosion of space itself. This was the Big Bang, the birth of the universe, when all of matter, energy, space, and time were compressed into an infinitely dense point, a singularity, before rapidly inflating in an instant of unimaginable expansion. Out of this event came the raw ingredients of reality. First energy, then the simplest elements, and eventually, through billions of years of cosmic evolution, the stars, the galaxies, the planets, and much later you, your body made of atoms forged in the furnaces of long-dead stars, your breath carrying oxygen that was once stardust scattered across the cosmos. Everything traces back to that mysterious instant when something emerged from nothing, a moment where physics itself falters and imagination struggles to keep up. And yet, here lies the haunting question that has divided scientists and philosophers alike. Did the universe truly begin with the Big Bang? Or is the Big Bang simply the chapter we can see, the story we tell ourselves to make sense of the evidence, while the deeper truth about reality remains far more vast, incomprehensible, and terrifying than we are yet prepared to face? For as long as humanity has existed, we have lifted our eyes to the night sky and been consumed by a single burning question. Where did all of this come from? The twinkling stars, the pale glow of the moon, the silent sweep of the Milky Way across the heavens, they all seem to demand an origin story. And so, ancient civilizations filled the silence with myths. In Hindu cosmology, the god Vishnu rests upon an endless cosmic serpent, dreaming the universe into being, his visions giving birth to reality itself. In ancient Greece, philosophers spoke of a cosmic egg, a mysterious orb that cracked open to release the world, order emerging from primordial chaos. The Maya, gazing at the same stars from another part of the world, imagined the cosmos as an eternal cycle of creation and destruction, universes born and destroyed in infinite rhythm. These myths gave shape to the unknown, but as science matured, a new era of questioning began. By the early 20th century, most scientists held a comforting belief that the universe was eternal, infinite, and static, unchanging and stretching back forever in both directions of time. Even Albert Einstein, when he unveiled his groundbreaking theory of general relativity in 1915, could not bring himself to imagine a universe that moved. To preserve the illusion of stability, he introduced a mathematical adjustment, a cosmological constant, which he later admitted was the greatest blunder of his career. But the universe had its own plans. In 1929, Edwin Hubble peered through his telescope and found something astonishing. Galaxies were not standing still. They were rushing away from us, scattering in every direction as though space itself was stretching and carrying them along. This was not the eternal, unchanging cosmos humanity had imagined. It was dynamic, alive, and expanding. And if the universe is expanding today, then it must have been smaller yesterday, smaller the day before, smaller still, all the way back to some unimaginable beginning. That realization planted the seed of an idea so radical it would redefine our place in existence, the theory we now call the Big Bang. Chapter 1. The Birth of the Big Bang Theory. Among the first to step into this uncharted territory of cosmic origins was Georges Lemaitre, a Belgian priest and physicist whose mind bridged faith and science. He proposed a radical idea, that the universe had begun not as an eternal expanse, but as a single, infinitely dense point he called the primeval atom. From this tiny seed, all matter, all energy, and all of space itself had erupted, giving rise to everything we now see. When Lemaitre first shared his theory, many of his contemporaries dismissed it as fanciful, even absurd. How could something emerge from nothing? But the universe has a way of whispering its secrets in subtle ways, and in the 1960s, two scientists, Arno Penzias and Robert Wilson, stumbled upon one of the most profound clues. Working with a sensitive radio antenna, they detected a faint, persistent hiss coming from every corner of the sky. At first, they thought the interference was caused by something mundane, pigeon droppings nesting in the equipment. But the truth was far more extraordinary. That faint signal was the cosmic microwave background radiation, the residual heat left over from the Big Bang itself, traveling across billions of years to reach Earth. It was as if the universe had left behind a baby picture of its own birth, frozen in time, carrying the echoes of that first explosive moment. With this discovery, Lemaitre's idea transformed from a speculative theory into the most compelling explanation for the origin of the cosmos, a scientific story written across the sky, waiting for humanity to read it. With this discovery, Lemaitre's idea transformed from a speculative theory into the most compelling explanation for the origin of the cosmos, a scientific story written across the sky, waiting for humanity to read it. Chapter 2. The Timeline of Creation. So how did it all unfold, from nothing to the vast cosmos we inhabit today? At time zero, all of existence was compressed into a singularity, an infinitely small, infinitely dense point containing all matter, energy, space, and time. Within the first 10 circumflex 43 seconds, known as the Planck era, the laws of physics themselves unraveled. Gravity, quantum mechanics, and relativity no longer operated in harmony. Our current understanding of the universe simply breaks down, leaving a mystery we may never fully decipher. Then, at 10 circumflex 36 seconds, the universe underwent inflation, not a simple expansion, but a violent exponential ballooning in which space itself grew faster than the speed of light, stretching from a subatomic scale to something cosmic almost instantly. By the time 1 second had passed, the first protons and neutrons had coalesced, forming the building blocks of matter. By the time 1 second had passed, the first protons and neutrons had coalesced, forming the building blocks of matter. 3 minutes later, these particles fused into simple atomic nuclei, hydrogen, helium, and trace amounts of lithium. 3 minutes later, these particles fused into simple atomic nuclei, hydrogen, helium, and trace amounts of lithium. For the next 380,000 years, the universe remained opaque, a hot, dense fog, until it cooled enough for electrons to combine with nuclei and form neutral atoms. Only then could light escape freely, creating the cosmic microwave background radiation that Penzias and Wilson would detect billions of years later. Over eons, gravity began to weave atoms together, birthing the first stars and galaxies. Over eons, gravity began to weave atoms together, birthing the first stars and galaxies. Within the cores of these stars, nuclear fusion forged heavier elements, carbon, oxygen, iron, until some stars ended their lives in cataclysmic supernova explosions, scattering these elements across space. And here's the profound, humbling truth. The atoms in your body, the oxygen you breathe, the iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, originated in those long-dead stars. And here's the profound, humbling truth. The atoms in your body, the oxygen you breathe, the iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, originated in those long-dead stars. You are, in the most literal sense, made of stardust, carrying in you the echoes of the universe's first moments. You are, in the most literal sense, made of stardust, carrying in you the echoes of the universe's first moments. Chapter 3. Beyond the Bang. Yet, as monumental as the Big Bang theory is, it raises even deeper, more perplexing questions. Questions that challenge not only our understanding of the universe, but the very nature of existence itself. What caused the Big Bang? What existed before it? And perhaps the most unsettling question of all, was there even a before to speak of? Some scientists argue that time itself began with the Big Bang, making any notion of before meaningless, like asking what lies north of the North Pole. Some scientists argue that time itself began with the Big Bang, making any notion of before meaningless, like asking what lies north of the North Pole. Others suggest that the Big Bang may not have been the absolute beginning, but rather a dramatic transition, a cosmic bounce from a previous universe that collapsed before ours sprang into being. In more speculative realms, string theory envisions an infinite multiverse, where our universe is just one spark amid countless others, each born from its own cosmic genesis. In more speculative realms, string theory envisions an infinite multiverse, where our universe is just one spark amid countless others, each born from its own cosmic genesis. And then there is the theory of eternal inflation, proposing that universes are continuously budding off from inflating regions of space like bubbles forming in a frothing cosmic foam, each carrying its own unique laws of physics, its own galaxies, stars, and perhaps even life. Each carrying its own unique laws of physics, its own galaxies, stars, and perhaps even life. In this view, the Big Bang is no longer the singular origin of everything. It is merely a chapter in a boundless, ever-expanding narrative of creation, leaving us to wonder whether our universe is the rule, or just a fleeting spark in an infinite cosmic sea. Leaving us to wonder whether our universe is the rule, or just a fleeting spark in an infinite cosmic sea. Leaving us to wonder whether our universe is the rule, or just a fleeting spark in an infinite cosmic sea. Part 4. But here's the unsettling twist. What if everything we've believed about the Big Bang is only part of the story, or perhaps even wrong? In recent years, scientists have begun to question whether the Big Bang happened exactly the way we think. In 2022, observations from the James Webb Space Telescope revealed galaxies far older and far more massive than our current models predicted, forming so quickly after the supposed Big Bang that they challenge the established timeline of cosmic evolution. Could it be that our understanding of the universe's early years is flawed or incomplete? Some researchers suggest that the evidence we attribute to the Big Bang, the cosmic microwave background, the expansion of space, the distribution of galaxies, might also be explained by alternative models, such as a steady-state universe, or even a cosmic cycle of endless expansion and contraction, where universes are born, collapse, and reborn in an eternal rhythm. What if the Big Bang wasn't the absolute beginning of everything, but merely the beginning of our story, one chapter in a far grander, more intricate cosmic saga that stretches beyond our comprehension, leaving us to grapple with the possibility that the true origin of reality is still hidden, waiting for us to discover it. Part 5. So, how did the universe begin? The honest truth is that we do not fully know, and perhaps we never will. And yet maybe that is precisely the beauty of it. Every night when you lift your gaze to the stars, you are not merely observing distant lights, you are peering back in time, seeing photons that left their sources millions, sometimes billions of years ago. The night sky is more than a view. It is a memory, a living record of the universe's long and intricate history, written in starlight. But one truth remains undeniable. In the first violent fires of creation, in that enigmatic birth of space and time, the very ingredients of life were forged. The same cosmic energy that ignited the stars now courses through us, in our blood, our bones, and our breath. So the next time you ask, how did the universe begin? Remember that the answer is, in part, already inside you. In a profound and literal sense, you are the universe contemplating its own existence, a conscious fragment of the cosmos reflecting on the very process that brought it into being.